just like closing my eyes.
What's going on, everyone?
Hugging and kissing it late at night.
That's right.
Oh, I like that.
How you guys doing, everyone?
Oh, yeah.
That's a little bit of the Blasters. They're
Yeah.
like an old school little rockabilly band, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a cool little taste to them, you know?
Yeah, I don't know them, so this is my first time hearing it.
Yeah, they're pretty good stuff.
I like it. I'm feeling it.
What's
All right.
going on, everybody?
Yes, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute. My name is Drew.
And I'm Kat.
And this is Let's Party, Prayer, and Punk Rock.
Yeah, it is. Oh man, we have been
It's been a minute.
busy little bees.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry for the delay, and
Yeah,
everyone's been waiting, but
Yeah,
you know.
I know they don't even know, but whatever.
Right.
It's going around now that school's back in session that everybody is kind of sick. And I think that that's pretty relatable. So we've had some weeks of not feeling good. I poked myself in the eye.
Yeah.
That
you,
was
had a nice
weird.
little incident where somehow in the middle of the night you were gouging your own eyeball out with your fingernail or something.
It happened twice.
Yeah.
And it's the sleep, I don't know I'm doing it. Once I lifted the cornea up.
Yeah, you can tell 'em. And then the second time,
And the second time I took a chunk out right in front of my
having
pupil.
something in your eye and not
And
knowing
it was part of my eyeball.
like this is like a horror movie.
I know.
I mean, we are in October, but it's like my goodness. Yeah.
Anyway,
It's pretty crazy. But
as
resilient
now.
as the human body is, right?
I'd never done that before, and I really think it's allergies, and I'm trying to itch my eyes in the middle of the night. But I took it as maybe it's a spiritual thing, and I need to go within and see what's going on. Yeah. And I like, what is going on? I felt like, an eye thing is putting, taking or looking at the speck in your neighbor's eye and pulling out the log out of your own eye. Yeah, and and like self-reflection. And we like to start our podcast with a little bit of Jesus jamming. So, fun little segue here is that, I've been also working on my anger.
Right.
And when I poked myself in the eye, I was able to give up a stronghold.
Right.
As well as go within, So I feel like God, really, I don't think God poked me in the eye, but I think that he used it for good for me.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think he gives us certain experiences to sort of go through to sort of realize what we had or, maybe just kind of the struggles that we need to look at or something like that. But yeah.
Just to reflect, sit us down. Like you had a surgery that required you to be in bed for a while and sit you down.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice, but yeah, I mean, I hated having to kind of lay in bed and whatever. I wanted to get up and move around.
Yes.
And I did a little bit, but
yeah.
I wanted to make sure I didn't tear anything or
And you really
go by the doctor's orders.
Yeah. And you took it easy.
Yeah,
Took it easy, you felt God during that time. Because when we are brought to stillness, man, that's when he can be the loudest, right? Yeah. And so,
yeah, and that was nice too, because it was I think you were working one day, and everyone's in school or work.
Yeah.
And I went for a walk.
Yeah.
Through that whatever park path area, and it was just so serene and nice and quiet. There was barely anybody out, and it was just. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
it was nice and crisp.
Feeling of
it's November. It's about this time almost last year. It was,
and God showed up for you that day.
Yeah, that was you. And that was really where it was hey, this is what you need. You need to just calm down.
Calm down. Relax.
Even a walk you're on, you don't need to rush it. You can just kind of enjoy your time and just stop and look at the little. The little nature.
Yeah.
What kind of leaf is this? They have along the path. They
have the little
information
words.
things, and it's kind of all right. Let's just kind of stop and take a look at all this stuff,
And actually read it and just mosey.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Smell the flower.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the time.
But it was cool. But but that's not about this. This was more about anger. And I think, too...
Well, that's the opposite of anger,
it is the opposite.
though,
It's where
honestly,
you want to be, really.
Right.
It's like what you're striving for. And it was in that moment, yeah, it's just like, oh, it's like clarity.
Feel this peace. You can always return here.
For sure. And I think about it like, man, dude, okay, like that's kind of a place I'll go to if I need to, if I'm getting stressed out at work or something's going on at home or whatever. Like, all right,
remember
that time. Let's just try and... We could find that again somehow.
You do that?
Even if I have to go back there.
Yeah, you do that?
Yeah, like driving home, sometimes
I like that.
There's, God, dude, everybody I'm sure it's everywhere, but it seems like Texas, some of these drivers are crazy.
That's where a lot of my anger could come from.
Yeah, it's like a battleground, It's like, dude. But then, but honestly, lately as well with anger, the country itself, we're coming up on an election, and we're not going to get all into this, that, or the other about that. But it really does, like, especially this election and the way things are going, lately, just in all.
Every election season, there's so much anger.
Well, and that's the problem, I think, especially this time around, like, there's so much anger between the two candidates. You either, it's almost just one or the other. You're really just, you used to be able to have these just discussions with people about, oh, you think this, well, I think that. And now it's like, if it's really a divided house. I mean, if one person thinks this and the other does not, it's almost like this offensive nature.
Yeah, like we can't be friends.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like families really are
and
like
God
not
does
talking
not want
to each
that.
other. No,
that is the last thing God wants. And so, and sorry to interject quickly, just on my heart though, but if you are a Christian, calling you guys out here, okay? If you're a Christian claiming that you're following Jesus, Jesus is your president. Jesus is the one you're rooting for. What would Jesus do? And I'm saying that is so made into a cliche, sadly. But let's bring it back to that. What would Jesus do? Would Jesus want you talking to your neighbor who thinks differently and making them feel bad in a hateful way and bringing them down and insulting them, talking behind their backs? All that stuff that you're doing is not of Jesus if you're doing that. And so I think that's a come to Jesus moment, really, during this time. Can you be soft? Yeah. Can you listen and hear other people's stories and opinions of what their beliefs are? That's, that's when you're actually tapping into God's grace.
Yeah. Well, and that's really where it's, it's not rushing to talk. It's, stop and listen, and just
stop and listen.
Yeah, and there's just it's kind of interesting, like Pastor Drew mentioned in the service last week about these leaders, and it's like, well, if these people are such bad people, or or like, why would God allow these types of candidates? A lot of people look at these two candidates like, why is this
our option?
You know what I mean? How come there's no one else down the line? So God allowed this to happen. He allowed Trump and Harris to be our two front runners. And it's like, well, guy, think back, is bad, because he made reference to like the Roman Empire, and how, disgusting and horrible and wretched, it was back then, where they would just take people and throw them into the Colosseum to be eaten by animals for entertainment, or King Herod or King Saul, or any of these kings out there that did horrible things to their citizens. And
this is like chill.
Now? Yeah, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
But but these people were put in power for a certain reason, and if you look at the whole story, obviously it's showing the difference between right and wrong, and how people turned from, okay, I don't want to go there type of thing, but that's all stories in itself, especially King Saul and all that stuff.
Oh,
but
my gosh,
it's and who knows? Whether it is Harris or Trump that gets nominated, maybe things happen that people didn't think would elected. Sorry, maybe they do forward things through policies that we didn't expect they would, and surprising natures appear from them. Who knows? But
and by the way, we are
these
called
opposed walls between us.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm working on that. We are called to pray for them. Mm-hmm. God wants us to pray for him. I don't have that scripture right now, but if you Googled Jesus or, the Bible telling you to pray for your leaders, it'll pull it up. We are called to pray for them, whoever it is that is in the is in control, in charge.
Right.
You know, and you're right, going back to maybe God is using them in different ways that we never knew.
I mean, they
you
could,
know?
who knows?
Yeah, and that's...
But, yeah, I mean, just to have this type of anger about it, and, it's just kind of interesting. And there were a few Jesus callings this week that kind of talked about anger and humbling yourselves and stuff like that, It's
finding the line of why you're so angry.
Yeah.
Why does this really make you angry? What happened in your life that is spurring this anger? Is it, and for everybody it's going to be different. Because people have stories that give them the feeling of this righteous anger. I'm allowed to have this feeling. I'm allowed to be angry about this because I went through this. And so I can be as angry as I want about this. And in reality, does God want you to... That's not righteous anger at all.
No.
In any way.
No, I mean, in most
cases,
is not righteous.
None of it right. Yes.
I mean, there is like a fine line between that passion that you cross over, or that anger you cross over, and passion for something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's okay to, obviously, you might be angry with somebody that did something to your child. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But yeah, to have like such this anger.
But
about
that mama bear
trivial
anger.
Things. That's another thing altogether. You cut me off. You don't like him because of why? I mean, for any number, and it's like, I mean, those types of things, I mean, we need to learn that, I mean, God, these are things that we need, that's where we need to humble ourselves.
It's a heart thing, yeah.
And it's really catching yourself, and that's the hard thing.
Don't
in
be
the spur
a part
of the moment,
of that.
in the heat of the moment, you are just like, you're full-fledged down that,
Just because everybody else is doing it doesn't make it okay.
No, not at all.
Don't jump on the bandwagon of that. And, who am I to talk? But I just feel like, because I get angry, and I'm working on my own anger, and I feel like the mama bear anger is an excused anger. An election anger is an excused anger. It's politically, and media filled, the media focuses on it. Now we have social media that gets us to many different layers of different people with lots of opinions, and it's a real bummer sometimes when you get on your social media and it's just
it's just all
blowing
political
up
this or a storm that,
right.
Or
and there is like what you watch, it's going to shoot back at you. So if you're not watching it, you're not going to get a lot of it. But I accidentally rabbit holed down, like, the lights are going to go out in a year and the survival video. Now I'm getting nothing but the end of the world stuff.
Uh-oh.
And it's like, so what you do, what you look at is what you're getting.
Kitties.
Yeah. And Jesus videos for sure. And because there's an algorithm and they will pour it into you. So if you are putting even a video of watching something that's hateful and angry, that's going to start feeding you on your feed, and it's the same way as we start like talking. If you want to manifest something, you talk about it a lot. Period. And it could be anything. It could be good or bad. Right? And so if you're trying to shift from anger, I'm in it right now because let me just share real fast. I had a mama bear experience this week with somebody at Jack's school, and I called the principal or vice principal, and I just let her have it about my feelings, and I was cussing. But I felt very close to her and felt safe to be able to talk like that. But then I went to school the next day and I super apologized for it. And I was like, that is not. And she's like, I get it. I'm a mama bear, and it's excused.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not okay.
I mean, those are moments where, you're so heated, and I get it. You know what I mean?
Those feels, but
it's kind of
it needs to be like tapping in to get the words, so you're not like looking crazy.
Like it says in 1 Peter here, 1 Peter 5, 5 verse 6 here, and then going down it says, "So humble yourselves under the mighty power of God, and at the right time He'll lift you up in honor. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. You know, it's a matter of just kind of like, all right. Yeah, but that's a hard part.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
giving it to him.
And then just having to stop and go, okay, God. You know, like it says in, like just say my name. Just say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah, help me, Jesus, help me.
You know,
Jesus,
sometimes it's like, okay, maybe that's a good precursor to start the talk with God. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah.
Boy, here we go again. Here
yes.
I am.
Sometimes it's all you get when you're angry. That's the only thing you could get out.
Right, yeah. Just make sure the way you say it.
Right.
And it says, so stay alert. Watch out for the great enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion, lurking for someone to devour. Stand firm against him and be strong in your faith. Remember that your family of believers all over the world are going through the same kind of suffering you are. You know, I mean, we all,
it's so true.
And we do. I mean, we all go through the same things, and we do. We get so angry, and we think that we're the only ones that are going through it. Or it's weird. It's almost like in my head, I feel like I know other people go through it, but I'm the one going through it right now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I need,
yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, and then it's like I try and picture myself outside myself, looking at myself, acting like that.
Yes.
Go, okay, would that be something that I would want to walk up on and think like, all right, that guy's got it together? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or, you know, like, what the hell is that guy doing, you know?
I mean, there is out-of-body experiences I have had with anger, particularly when, like, if we fight. Hey, we're keeping it super real on this show. I can get really passionate because it's all about those emotional feelings, connections to, like, love and anger. They're, like, right there. That's a heart thing, passion, you know. And so I have had to walk away for an hour, and I have a lot of struggle with, and I will admit it fully and to the public, that I have a lot of trouble with holding up my emotions when we're fighting, and I will like explode and then come back feeling really sorry and feeling really, really bad. And so it's like trying to it's like taking the vitamins before you get sick. It's like praying starting the day off, putting the armor of God on, and really tapping in every day so that, not that we fight every day, oh my gosh, no. You know, so that if and when that happens, I'm well to handle it. You have a lot of control when it comes to, if we fight. You do. And maybe that's that 5 extra years you got on me.
Well, my child, let me tell you.
So let me ask you, and this was not talked about previously, but let me ask you.
Oh boy, I'm being put on the spot.
I know. How do you kind of help yourself not get angry in those moments? What do you do? Do you just say, like, Jesus, help me? Like, what are you doing? I've never asked you this.
You're making it sound like I have it all together here.
Well,
not at all. But no, seriously.
But you do in lots of ways.
Honestly, in my in my kind of like experience, I've just I don't want to say shut down. I just kind of reserve myself from talking.
Yeah.
Just so I can make sure and gather my thoughts, and and sometimes I know it's not right. Like like if we're arguing, I might look right at you and then just walk right past you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, man, I don't know what to say right now. And I don't want to say I don't want to say, like, hey, and I don't want to say, hey, like trying to get it out the proper way. Yeah. And then it's like, hey, it's just kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to just, like, okay.
Not talk.
Yeah. And and I think it's just, it's a collective way for me just to sort of, okay, where do I, okay. Here's the situation. What did I do wrong? She's thinking this. I'm thinking that. How can we, where did I go wrong? What do I need to do? Did I do something? Is this over exaggerated? How can I help change it? What do I need to do to, I don't know.
Yeah,
just kind of got to go through all the motions.
Yeah.
And
I'm more like, ah! And then I'm like, but maybe, maybe it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
just explode first and then start processing.
And
so I've tried, I feel like I've gotten better in our marriage in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Do you think?
No.
Don't you think?
No, for sure. No, and I think it's just, we're two different people. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and how we process things,
right,
for sure.
And I think that, I don't know if it's because of 5 years or anything like that, but, we've gone through different experiences growing up and relationship-wise, and now here we are, and we have these two different personalities where we're a lot alike, but then reactions can be different, you know what I mean? And you're more passionate on, we're both passionate, but, I don't know.
I'm the girl. I'm really emotional.
It's almost, well, I think it's maybe that just right now, like, you're more reactionary than I am. Like, I hold my reaction a little bit more than you do. And it's just, it's
not working on that.
It's necessarily bad, but yeah, maybe it's just like, okay, if I do have this sense of, because I'll be honest, like, if we are arguing, and sometimes, like, I just go for a drive or whatever, and I'll be in the car,
and you're like, I know you came back with, like, a lost voice once.
Yeah. And I might do it 2 or 3 times.
To get the anger out.
Yeah, but to me,
but
it's
not
just,
against me,
right.
and I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? It's just like,
and having your moment with God, you do that. You take the car, you leave, you go for a walk, or you're in the car, and you are praying. Like, I know you're with God during that time.
And I will do that a lot. Honestly, in order to, like, I don't really have, like, too many friends around here, but even if I did, I don't think I'd initially just go rush over and want to talk. To me, like, sometimes just talking to God or talking to myself, talking to God.
Right.
That's it's like a self-therapy,
Right.
What I mean?
You turn to God. And in fact, I'm going to just call myself out just a little bit. We had lighting issues when we first started.
No.
And it was very irritating. And you ever get mad at, like, computer stuff? Like, it's not working, or it's, like, circling, and you're trying to get something done. You can't, it's like, it's one of the, work. Just like, technology issues. These are, like, all small little things that can really shift your mood for the day if you let it.
Yeah.
Because we could not find it. And it really turned out that where you wanted to put the light seemed to be the best spot, which kind of irritated me. Whatever, so I'm like,
that irritated you?
Well, because it looks better for you than for me, and I'm like letting my like ego get involved, and I'm like all these little things, and I'm just like, stop,
you look good,
and I'm like, stop, Catherine, like, you're about to go on camera and film and talk about anger. Are you gonna go on and be angry? Are you going in?
Sorry about the lighting issue, but all right. 1 Peter 5.
And we had already put our protective, armor on, And so and you were like, what's going on? Like, normally I'm not quiet. There's never much of a silence for me. Right.
Well, yeah.
See, so for a couple minutes, I was just kind of quiet. Maybe like 90 seconds. And you were like, what's up? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm just dealing with some anger. And you're like, oh, okay. So And so I also feel like, and it sounds like I'm like this raging, horrible person. I'm not at all. But there, we can all work on things, get better at things, And so anyway, so even right before, even after being protected and fully we praying all morning, all the things, I'm still like, anger. Woosa! Oh, man.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a deep breath,
Totally. Technology.
That's right.
All right. Well, we went for a really long time about that.
That was good.
That's good.
Well, moving on to
some movies.
Yeah.
We saw Wild Robot.
Yeah, The Wild Robot is out in theater. It came out, last week, I think it was?
Yeah.
It's an animated film.
Yeah, and I love the animation. It was really cute.
It was really well done,
so
the
cute.
animation. It was something to watch, for sure.
Definitely made me cry. If you're
emotional. It's an interesting story.
Yeah.
It's a simple story, but robot crash lands onto a desolate island that has a bunch of animals on it, and he learns kind of like life through adapting to their means, and ends up taking on a baby goose that he nurtures, or she nurtures.
Yeah.
And it's like this relationship that the robot has, and then it was a good story. I don't want to give
you don't want to give it away because it's still in the theater, but
it was good. It was a good story.
It's a feel-good cry.
And with the way everything's been going on lately, God, some of these movies out there, like, geez, Terrifier 3 and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to have an animated film that's out there.
That feels good.
Yeah, exactly.
I subbed yesterday 4th grade, and it was fun. I do a lot of kindergarten, and so 4th grade is really self-sufficient, so that was cool. And
Talking about Halloween?
And not yet. Mm-hmm. Actually, a couple people did.
I mean the movie.
No. But they went, the part of the rainwater class, they're like the advanced students, went on a field trip, and they read the book Wild Robot earlier in the semester. So they went to the field trip to see Wild Robot yesterday. And I was like,
that's cool.
That is such a cool field trip. Like, everybody went, the whole grade, all of 5th grade, and then everybody in 4th grade that was part of Rainwaters. Huh. So everybody who read the book. So you're talking about, big buses of kids going to see this movie. I was like, that is so super cool.
I wonder if Nathaniel had to help them all.
And that, I know, that's funny, because he works at AMC. Well, and then they came back at the end, and a lot of the girls were like, Mrs. Pardee, oh my gosh, I was crying. It was so good. Yeah. And they were telling me all about it.
The kids will love that movie for sure. That was a good one.
Yeah. And then totally opposite.
On HBO Max or whatever, they have streaming now the new Salem's Lot movie based on Stephen King's book, and it was first made a miniseries in 81. And this movie just kind of sucked. 81.
That was the year I was born.
Yep. Yeah, this movie wasn't, it had a few moments that were okay,
but... It sucked, though? You said it was, just
it just it didn't flesh out the characters. It was a miniseries. It was 3.5 hours, the original, and this is less than 2. It's just under 2 hours. And it's supposed to be about this vampire, this reporter that comes back to his hometown and has this, kind of backstory of trauma and, and people are starting to go missing and it's supposed to affect the town with this vampire. But it's kind of like the movie. The problem is it's got a few moments, but not really. But the problem is that it's supposed to kind of deal with the whole town as a whole, and it doesn't do that at all. It doesn't flesh out any of the characters of the town. So when they become vampires or something happens, you're like, okay, well, who was that person or that kid anyway?
Yeah.
It's like watching the movie It that was done in 2 parts.
Yes.
And not having any of the backstory. It was just them as adults, and you have no idea what this is even all about. There was no backstories of kids and what happened and
da-da-da. I wonder how it gets through
weird.
So many people to create it, to make it a movie, and nobody notices
Well, I guess I was reading up on it, and it said that it was originally supposed to come out sometime around COVID, and got pushed to the back shelf, and then they were going to kind of dump it, and then Stephen King actually said that he liked it.
Oh.
And so they decided to bring it out, and I was like, okay, well, I guess
Stephen King was stoned on that day.
I guess so. But it's if you have Max and you have nothing to do on a Saturday night, you can check it out. But I don't know if you like it.
That's a bummer though. But the first one,
I liked it a lot more. Yeah. It's the original. Usually is always the best.
I feel kind of bad because the rest of the movies that are on our list here, they are all your reviews because I fall asleep and you watch TV.
Yeah.
And
I'm doing it for the podcast.
You're doing it for the podcast. It kind of makes me feel bad, but.
No, it's all right.
You do better on less sleep than I do, for sure.
I've only had 2, and look at me go.
And how many vitamin Bs have we had?
Right. 5,000 milligrams.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Well, one of the other ones that I saw, Civil War, that's also premiering, I think, on Max, and that was the one that came out sort of in the summertime, I think, about kind of a scary thought to think, but it was about America and its own civil war, and it was focused on this group of reporters that was trying to get to the White House to get an interview with the president before he was attacked.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty tense movie and had some pretty shocking moments to it. You
thought it was really good.
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was, it was pretty good.
In fact, I wanted to watch that with you, and I forgot that we wanted to watch that when you asked what we wanted to watch last night.
Oh, okay.
Because
we can because
it
is a very tense film, and it's the way it's done. It's made by the guy that did 28 Days.
Character development was good.
Yeah, and it was. It kind of drew out some of the characters. Even though it's kind of quick moving, boy. And it's got this scene because it stars Kirsten Dunst. She's probably really the most famous one in it.
Yeah, she's famous.
Yeah, she's been in it for a while. There's a scene.
She was a vampire.
Yeah, she was actually. You know, I've never seen all that movie.
No? Oh, we should watch it.
Yeah. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt as vampires. Just it was like.
What's the name of it again?
Interview with the Vampire.
Oh,
yeah.
Duh.
It's based on the Anne Rice novel. It's supposed to be good, but I don't know. Like we talked about Salem's Lot. I've just never been a big vampire Dracula fan.
No, and
you know?
that's like devilish stuff to me. So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of eh. But yeah, the Civil War movie, it's got a really tense scene between Kirsten Dunst's real-life husband and their group because they're just really kind of gung-ho on what kind of an American are you right now.
Yeah.
And it's just, ooh, boy, it's a pretty tense scene.
Go
but
ahead.
the movie's
Tell
pretty
the
good.
Scene. Tell the scene.
No. I won't give it away,
All
but
right.
her husband pretty much, she starts laying out people because...
What's his name? Do you know?
Oh.
Wow. Sorry to call you out. I figured
know.
you didn't know it, actually, because you were saying husband.
I want to say his first name is Bruce. But, man, he was like the bad guy in the Jungle Cruise movie that Disney did last year with The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
He was the main bad guy in that.
All right.
And then he's always kind of been those weird sort of character.
Yeah.
Almost, he reminds me of like a Crispin Glover, the guy that played George McFly in the Back to the Future movies. He always played these weird, I don't know, just kind of strange. But, yeah, it's a good movie. It is a good movie. And then, yes, I did watch Once Upon a Time in Mexico and Desperado, the Robert Rodriguez movies, El Mariachi.
Yep. You watch these. I don't even hear it.
I know, and I finished watching Desperado, and I'm like, it's like the end, like last 30 minutes, and boom, 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 action explosions, and yeah, you're just out.
I'm just sleeping.
Like, all right.
Well, I've started wearing the eye mask.
Yes.
To not poke
to protect
myself.
your eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I literally, last night when I kissed you goodnight, I said goodbye.
Yeah, you're like, bye.
Going
okay.
Away.
She is going to sleep, Rand.
Yeah. Goodbye. Anyway, so glad you got to watch that.
And those are old schools. Those are good.
Those are old schools, and I don't really remember it. It would be kind of fun to rewatch them. I do like them together. Weren't they married at one point? Or no?
Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, no. He was with
Melanie Griffin.
Melanie Griffin when he was doing it.
I saw them at her Disneyland.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What she looked like in person? Was she small?
She was sitting down in the, the Golden Horseshoe, New Orleans Square.
Yeah.
She was sitting down in like the outside cafe patio or whatever in the corner with her kid.
Oh.
I remember thinking like, "Where's Antonio Banderas?" Because she was like her and like.
Is that how you say it? I thought it was Banderas.
No, yeah, I just always it's like
just
Puss and Boots.
Oh, Puss and Boots.
Because he does a voice for him too, or whatever.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's kind of the movie front. Yeah. And then on the TV front, we've been watching The Old Man on Hulu. Jeff Bridges, John Lithgow.
Yeah, it's
it's
so
good. And this second season,
and they're really having to work together.
Yeah.
And the talk about character development.
Yeah.
That's really growing, especially with the daughter. But the daughter is like the actual daughter of the bad guy, but they're having to, like, she's asking him to be kind. It's like a really pull your heart, kind of tell your heart kind of vibes this season.
Yeah.
I really, really have enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's on season 2. And the old man is like, Jeff Bridges is an old CIA operative who's been living this life away from everything, and then he gets found and has to go on the run, and it's led to this insane second season where now they're in Afghanistan, and you learn a lot more about
their relationship.
Yeah, their relationship, and John Lithgow and
their
Jeff Bridges,
backstories.
and it's gotten pretty good so far.
And like the core of it is the daughter, which Jeff Bridges raised. But how is John Lithgow?
He was because Jeff Bridges' character when he was young in the 80s, he was working with this group of rebel fighters in Afghanistan or whatever that were fighting against Russia, and he was sort of like the inside undercover guy, and then John Lithgow was his what do they always call it? They always call it like a helper or not profiler, but he was like his guy that got, he would go back, give John Lithgow the information and say, I need da-da-da-da, and then he'd get them the helicopter or, whatever,
Okay. Right.
So he
But
was like his.
I don't remember his connection to the daughter. Like, why is John?
Well, remember,
Lithgow
because he was working with so-called this bad guy and working, kind of getting under his skin and becoming his friend.
Right.
And then Jeff Bridges and the bad guy's wife ended up developing a relationship because she knew how bad this guy was. And so they ended up leaving in the middle of the night, escaping, and taking their daughter with them, and then telling the daughter she grew up and was raised thinking Jeff Bridges was her father, when in fact it was actually this bad guy.
Yeah, but
she's
the
daughter
John
of this bad
Lithgow
guy.
Also feels
handler. That's what I want to say. Handler. John Lithgow was the handler of Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
Jeff Bridges undercover, and this bad guy.
So did
he would
he
go
just, like,
give him the info.
babysit her and take care of her? How did John Lithgow?
Well, she ended up, as she grew up. Oh, their relationship.
Yes.
The daughter ended up growing up and becoming an FBI agent and working under John Lithgow.
Yes.
And it was sort of that way. John Lithgow with Jeff Bridges. Hey, I'll make sure she's always being looked after.
But she didn't
know.
You're
on the run, kind of thing. Yeah, and she didn't know.
Right. Because that was last
she was
season,
the daughter.
like last year we watched that.
And that was at the end of the season, you kind of found out, boom, 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 or whatever. So, spoiler.
You have such a good memory for this stuff.
I
don't know how you remembered that much stuff. I'm like, experience it, out.
I don't know. I kind of was remembering it as we were going.
Yeah, you got a good brain.
And then, of course, Only Murders in the Building. This is the best season, if you ask me. If you've not seen the show, it's so good.
It's more dark. It's more emotional.
Yeah.
It's more sinister. It's more character development.
Yeah, they throw everybody into this, and it's pretty
Melissa
good. Melissa
McCarthy is in it.
It was just in this last episode. She was pretty good. She played Steve Martin's sister.
Such a good job at playing that character. It doesn't look like her at all. It doesn't act like her at all. Like she did. I feel like Melissa McCarthy could get like a little Emmy for that. She did really good.
She did do good. She
because it didn't look like her at all.
No, not really.
She has lost some weight, so that helps.
Yeah,
but they had like this old lady hair on her.
Yeah, she's like from Long Island.
She had this accent that was crazy. I had no idea it was her, and you were like, "That's Melissa McCarthy."
A house full of like dolls and so weird.
It was so fun. And they're like laying on the beds everywhere.
Yeah,
they're like in
and
the
like
way.
Life size, like sitting at a dining room table. One of them just sitting there,
So
Martin Short sits on a couch, like on one. It's just so weird. Yeah, it is funny if you haven't seen this.
And you tend to kind of like her because she is emotional. I mean, I kind of tended to like her. You don't like her, but there's like a piece of her. I mean, you do,
but by the end of the episode, you kind of understand where she's coming from, and and all that stuff.
And I just really like the development of the relationship between Steve Martin Short, and
Selena
Gomez. It has now really become, like a vibe. At the beginning, it's kind of weird because she's so young and they're like old, and it's like what? And then now it's like they're just, it is.
Yeah,
they just like work to their buddies, and they have like that character development has really come up this season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and they've drawn back to the first season. Oh, not to give too much away, but like you get a lot more little cliffhanger things this last episode 7 where things kind of tie into the first season, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's really good. Really good.
Yeah.
And then Loudermilk. We've been watching Loudermilk.
Yeah.
And we're on season 3, I think episode 5.
I want to stop watching it because it's almost over. This is the last season.
I think it's the last. Well, so far. I mean, not that they're not going to have another one, but we're almost through the end of this season.
I know. It makes me nervous.
They only have 3 seasons out so far, and it's good.
There's like a legit sadness I feel when we end a series.
Yeah. I know. I'm waiting for Severance to come back.
Yeah, Severance is coming back. There was a definite mourning when that ended. That's one of your favorites.
Oh yeah, I love that show.
But there is that like sense of like, oh, it's over. Like I'm waiting for Stranger Things. You know? And Jack he's really got that like nostalgia in his heart. He's very nostalgic. He's been watching a lot of that. He has watched Stranger Things. He's gone through it twice, waiting for it to come back.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's not going to be back until next year.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have
And I think Severance comes back at the beginning of next year, too.
A few episodes to, like, trickle in and watch, like, maybe once every couple of weeks, so it kind of elongates the feel.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind watching only Murders in the Building again, like from
Starting
season 1.
Starting at the beginning, yeah.
Ah, it's such a... I mean, that's one of my new favorites, too. Cause it's just a good show.
Martin Short and Steve Martin.
How can you go wrong?
We saw them live.
Right. And then just, and then the people that they've had in each season. I mean, they've had everyone from Sting...
Yeah. Oh gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
To Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Meryl Streep's in these two seasons.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Matthew Broderick.
About that. Oh my god.
And then Mel Brooks making fun of Matthew Broderick. Like,
and
don't give him ideas.
And remembering that because that's like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, no, that was last season.
Was it?
Yeah, remember because that was the play, and then Steve Martin was going to do the play.
That's right. And Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd, and then he's back this season, but he's the stunt man of Paul Rudd.
So he's
like an Irishman or whatever.
Character.
Yeah. It's good. It is. It's a great show.
And it's short.
Yeah, they're like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you actually got to watch commercials, but that's like one of those new. We'll get Hulu Plus, and you won't have to worry about commercials or something.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Loudermilk is short too, so
they're on Netflix, so they're 22 minutes, and it's just 22 minutes.
Yeah.
No commercials.
There you go.
That's what's great about
What's
Netflix.
On Hulu?
Only Murders and Old Man.
An Old Man.
Yeah.
That gives you commercials for sure.
And then like a Teacup. That's this other new series I started watching. That once again, it's on Peacock, and that's got commercials.
I am kind of this year trying to vibe away from some of the scary stuff. Okay, I'm having like a little bit of a on my heart. Would Jesus sit down and watch this movie with me?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know. So like the stuff that has any sort of sorry for clicking my pen, y'all. And any sort of like demon or like anything that could potentially in any way give some satisfaction to the devil, I'm like, well,
I don't know if that's what this is.
You don't feel like Teacup is that?
No, and I don't think it's like, to me, it's kind of like, there's a supernatural feeling to it for sure, but it's not like it's more like a Lost kind of thing. Like you're not sure what's really It's very weird, I'll say. There's 2 episodes that just aired. The
animals are all possessed?
Well, no. The animals are acting weird. Like in an earthquake, animals start acting funny and trip out. And so, like, this show starts, it's set in Georgia on a farm. And I don't know if it's Georgia, because if it's set in Georgia, did they film in Georgia? Or did they actually use the Ozarks for Georgia? When they were supposed to use Georgia for Ozarks. But it was beautiful to see Ozarks. That was a rabbit hole. But anyway, so the show is set on a farm in Georgia. And it's this family that has a young son and a daughter. And the wife is a veterinarian for like horses, I guess, and whatnot, because you find that out in the first episode. The animals, there's a goat. The goats, the horses have been acting kind of strange. At the very beginning of the episode, there's like something with this woman who's like tied up, and she's trying to break the tie on her arms, and then she runs out, and like something is chasing her. And then in the meantime, this boy goes out to get this goat that wandered off, and he runs into this woman who infects him with something. You're not sure what it is. You just see her standing over him, and she has this like little kind of weird gleam in her eye. And then all of a sudden, he has the gleam in his eye. And so it's like you're wondering, okay, what's going on? And then...
See, that sounds like it could be, like, demonic to me.
Well, no, at one point in this show, he does have... he says the man in his head told him that they need to hide because something evil is coming.
Yeah.
So, what... But it's just... It's like anything, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's...
It's not real.
Yeah, but it's just very strange because, like, at one point... Like this one dog is rabid, and he's kind of like, chasing after people. And this one guy just shows up at the end of the first episode, and he's wearing a face mask, and he just starts drawing this blue line down their driveway. And then he shows them a graphic on this board he writes on because he doesn't talk, and it shows a circle and 2 X's where the guys are talking to him, and they're basically telling him that they have to stay inside this line. And they're like, okay, whatever. and then this dog comes out like attacking this guy, and he's able to kind of throw him, and the dog ends up outside this line, and suddenly this dog just dies. You know, it's like he just like his insides just come out, and you're like, what
Gross.
the hell is going on? Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's.
So it's definitely like a rated R kind of.
Yeah, well, yeah, and what's weird is that it says that they air new episodes on Tuesdays. It says that it was created for television by this person based on a book, but they say the F word. They say it's like full-fledged, like it's like, are they airing this on like, it's on Peacock? Are they airing? This isn't like a regular channel 4 at 10 o'clock show even, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess it'd be 9 o'clock our time here in Texas. But yeah, because I mean, it's full-fledged. What the F is going on? And you're like,
whoa.
Okay,
yeah.
I guess this must just be for Peacock, like created for the whatever. But it's really weird. And, one of the people ends up crossing the line and they die.
No one famous.
It's got this woman, her name is, I can't remember her name. It's Yvonne something. But she was in, I remember from the show Chuck. Do you remember that show Chuck that used to be on TV? It starred the guy that plays Shazam.
Oh, no.
He was on a show called Chuck where he's mistaken for a secret agent, and he has to go along, whatever. And she was like the Russian agent that was helping him.
Okay.
I can't remember her name, but then it's also got Scott Speedman in it, who was like from, I think it was like Dawson's Creek or Felicity or something like that. I think one of the things. But no one, not really anyone big.
Yeah.
No, as far as we know. But it was.
So you would say,
was eerie.
Watch it.
It's an interesting.
Eerie.
Yeah, I mean for Halloween, but no, it's not like. I mean, so far it didn't seem like demon possessed stuff, but it's just kind of a creepy show. You know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm going to be judged now.
No, I don't mean to do that to you.
No.
I don't mean to do that
I'm
to you.
joking.
I'm just kind of feeling like, super close to the Holy Spirit.
Hey, you know what? And I understand.
Just being drawn to watch less scary things. Just that's all.
You don't need any of that type of stuff in your life. I get it. Just like I don't need musicals in mine. No.
I don't really like watching.
No, I mean I don't like a lot
either.
of that, like a lot of that, like really gory, like this Terrifier series, stuff like that. It's just disgusting to me. I can't handle stuff like that, But anyway.
Okay, let's talk about something happy.
Okay.
You went to the Interrupters concert with your daughter, just you and Amelia.
Yeah, we went here in Texas. They have the Toyota Music Factory in Irving. Mm-hmm. And had a daddy-daughter date. Yeah. We went. It was some 41's farewell tour or something. Everyone's farewelling.
What a beautiful experience for her.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
She loved it.
She loved it. You loved it. It was good for you too. It's good for the both of you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they are a great band live. I mean,
and you said she brought up a child on stage.
Yeah, there was down in the pit area. There was a little girl, maybe 4.
Yeah.
On her father's shoulders, I guess. And, she at one point bent to, how old are you? Da-da-da-da. What? Do you want to come up on stage? And let her up on stage. And she was singing some of a couple of songs. She had her
she
up there
knew
for
it.
Like 2 songs, yeah. And she would sing the word, yeah.
Oh.
Like it was cute. It was really cute.
Because the first thing Amelia said when she came home was not like, oh my gosh, it was amazing or anything. She just said, what's the singer's name?
Amy Interrupter or Amy Lee or whatever.
I think she just said, and the singer brought, a little girl on stage. Yeah. And so that was really impressionable to Amelia.
Oh yeah,
that
for
she
sure.
did that.
Yeah.
It showed her oh man, I really like this singer. Lauren Daigle brought kids up on stage. That's so awesome. And probably the 4-year-old won't remember it, but that'll be her story as she grows up. She'll be reminded,
for sure.
And maybe she will remember it.
Yeah.
Who knows,
That's like a big thing, I would think.
But, here she is like this tough punk rock girl. She's so tough. She sounds so like hard.
Yeah, she has a raspy voice.
Yeah, I thought she was a man at first. Honestly, I
really?
thought
when you heard when you're singing.
Yes, I thought it was a boy at first, and then I was like, oh my gosh, she's super cute. It's a girl. What? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, she has a good, strong voice behind her,
Deep voice. But to see
and
her
it
kind
sounds
of soft
good
like
live.
that is nice.
Yeah. And she was really sweet and nice to the girl. Let her
Yeah.
up there for a few songs. And
they were awesome live.
Oh, yeah, they were
Does
great
she
live.
sound like a powerhouse like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, what you hear, I mean, to me, it almost sounds better live.
Yeah.
You know, they're definitely one of those bands that you want to see live.
Yeah.
They didn't headline this one. They were underneath Sum 41. Yep, that's right. They were underneath the headliner, which was Sum 41. But man, I mean, I like to see them headline a show because I know that they would do more of a full-fledged set.
And that
but what they played, it was still really good.
Was like what, an hour and a half? How long did they play for?
I mean, they played maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as long
and
as
then
like,
Amelia
some of the
didn't
other
want to
ones.
stay for the headliner.
No, I mean, she doesn't really know Sum 41 that much. And,
And
you know, we
the
kind of listened a little bit, and I was like, if you want to stay, we can. If not, we can go. So we went and got
She was
some
like,
yogurt.
I want yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went and got some frozen yogurt, hung out and
She
talked,
made
and then
me,
came
if
home.
you're watching us behind the scenes here on YouTube,
Oh, I don't have
she
mine on.
made me, all of us, some bracelets.
She's
And
in
she's
the
really
business
getting,
of
and you can
bracelets.
hear it on the podcast.
Yeah.
She made one Mrs. Pardee for me for my subbing,
Mm-hmm.
and Mama Cat, and just different things. She made Mr. Pardee for you. And so if you want a bracelet, you know, send us a message. I'm doing a little promotion for her business. And
Yeah,
they're super
I mean,
cute.
we could, for sure.
Yeah, so you
They're
know they're
very
like
cheap.
$1
They're like
a
$1,
piece.
maybe
Yeah,
$2 or
but
$3,
she can make
depending.
it. You know, whatever colors you want. Maybe you have like.
I want to charge her blue.
Right, your teams. Or, I mean, going back to being nice about your stance in your politics, a Republican and a Democrat, you know? Hey, or maybe even like your school teams, your school colors. If you have kids and they, you know, you have a rally, everybody gets a color, at least here in Texas. So anyway, just a little promo for our girl.
Bam.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm just so glad that you have that time with her. Like she's 11. This preteen years are tough.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, and so to have a close relationship with you, her dad, that's so healthy and healing, and you're such a good dad to her. And she can talk about her feelings with you. So this is like good stuff. You know, you're building good core memories
with
here.
with all the kids too. It's a matter of finding the right concert for each one.
Of course. And
That's the
but
thing.
I am a woman. I work with women. I deal with women and going back to their childhood as little girls all the time. And so I'm specifically talking about being able to tap into a core memory that can really help her shift later in her life if there's any trauma. I'm just saying. That's like awesome.
Yeah.
And of course the boys too, you know, they need it too. But anyway, I can rabbit hole, and I am rabbit holing, and I'm gonna stop.
Rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. Are we what song are you doing leaving us?
Well, I thought that we'd go out with a little Interrupters, since we were talking about Interrupters. They've never done this one live, they didn't do it live when we saw them, but I've heard that they do it live on their headliner. And it's a cover of what's her name? Bad Guy.
Oh yeah.
What's her name?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Oh my gosh, I finally know
Jeez,
a name.
I know. See, there I go. That's where I space. I'll space on the easy thing. See, you know, I could be watching a game show and be like, oh yeah, the perpendicular strike, and then I get on there and I'd be like,
what's your name?
What? See, you know, it's the easy things that I get screwed up on. But yes, Billie Eilish does the song "Bad Guy," and so they do a cover of it, and it's a pretty good version.
I
so
think
I
this is the song. I thought she was a boy.
Okay. Well, let's see. What do you guys think?
What do you guys think? No disrespect, Amy. I love your voice.
Oh,
Not that you'll ever hear this, but
she's an
if
awesome
she does,
artist.
Yeah.
And they're all really good. And they're all, the band themselves, all the guys are brothers. There's two twins and then an older brother, I believe.
Is she married to any of them?
No, I don't think so. No, they're just all buddies or whatever.
Does she have kids? Is she married with children, or is she single, or what's her jam? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh. Well, I'm going to rabbit hole down that after this.
There you go. We'll get a report on Amy after that.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny when they did one of the introductions, because they introduced the band, you know, and these are my twin brothers, da-da-da-da-da. You know, and then he says, you know, talks about them, and then he's like, but before we introduced, we want to say, you know, this person just could not do it. Makes the band, and they just are full-fledged into this product that we've been producing, and they're so talented. And that's me, everybody. My name is, and you're, because he was like walking over to her, whatever. It was pretty funny, that she laughs and stuff. So you can tell they have that, that rapport, relationship, reputation with each other. It was pretty cool. So anyway, this is Bad Guy by the Interrupters. You guys take care out there. We'll be back here in a couple of weeks. We'll try not to be so long this time.
Yeah.
And
Let us know if you're listening.
Yeah. Throw us a shout out here,
Yeah.
Everyone knows what that means, right?
Yeah.
Someone asked you what rad meant. So
yeah, the 4th grade. I was like, ooh, that's rad. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, jeez. Well, this is rad.
This is rad.
All right, guys. You guys take care.
All right, we love you guys.